All right, guys, let's talk about one of the most powerful metabolic resets I've seen, combining a short 3-day fast with a carnivore diet. This approach isn't about deprivation or extreme endurance. It's about strategy. When you fast, your body starts burning fat and cleaning up damaged cells. When you refeed with clean animal-based foods, you keep insulin low, maintain muscle, and accelerate recovery. I've seen people drop stubborn belly fat, reduce inflammation, and reset their energy systems faster than they thought possible. Now, the truth is, most people are stuck in a constant feeding cycle, eating 6 times a day, spiking insulin, never giving the body a break. They end up storing fat, feeling tired, and wondering why they can't lose weight no matter how healthy their meals look. Fasting changes that equation. It flips a metabolic switch. For 3 days, you give your system a chance to heal, your insulin drops, your body taps into stored fat, and autophagy kicks in, cleaning out cellular waste. But here's the key: when that fast ends, what you eat next determines whether you keep burning fat or go right back to storing it. That's where the carnivore approach shines. You're not reintroducing sugar, seed oils, or plant toxins. You're fueling with nutrient-dense animal protein and healthy fats that stabilize blood sugar, restore hormones, and rebuild tissue. Instead of crashing after fast, you come back stronger, sharper, leaner, and more metabolically flexible. I've seen this combination do things traditional fasting or ketos can't touch. It's not hype, it's physiology. So yeah, if you've been plateaued, inflamed, or frustrated by slow results, this might be the missing link. The goal isn't to starve yourself, it's to reset your metabolism, target visceral fat, and allow your body to finally function the way it's designed to. When you enter a fast, the first thing your body does is tap into glycogen. That's the stored form of glucose in your liver and muscles. Most people have about 24 hours worth of glycogen available, depending on how active they are and how many carbohydrates they normally eat. Once that tank runs dry, something remarkable happens. Your metabolism shifts gears. Insulin levels fall and your body starts mobilizing fat for fuel. This is where the magic begins. The body starts breaking down triglycerides stored in adipose tissue into glycerol and free fatty acids. Those fatty acids travel to the liver, where they're converted into ketones, molecules like beta hydroxybutyrate and acetoacetate that serve as clean burning energy. This is the state of ketosis, and it's one of the most efficient anti-inflammatory metabolic states the human body can be in. When you're fasting, you're not just burning calories, you're teaching your body to rely on its most stable and abundant energy source, fat. Now, not all fat is equal. The body begins to prioritize certain fat stores first. Subcutaneous fat, the soft layer under your skin, is tapped to some degree, but visceral fat, the kind packed around your organs, becomes a primary target. That's because visceral fat is metabolically active. It releases inflammatory cytokines and hormones that disrupt insulin sensitivity and contribute to disease. When fasting progresses beyond that initial glycogen depletion phase, your body ramps up lipolysis, fat breakdown in these deeper stores. It's not just shrinking your waistline, it's literally improving how your cells communicate and function. This is one of the reasons people notice a rapid reduction in bloating and inflammation during a short fast. Insulin levels stay low, cortisol normalizes, and the body becomes more efficient at oxidizing fat. Ketone production increases exponentially after the 36-hour mark, and by 48 to 72 hours, you're in what's often called deep ketosis. At this point, your brain starts running almost entirely on ketones, sparing muscle tissue and enhancing mental clarity. This is why so many people report sharp focus, elevated mood, and a sense of calm during extended fasting. It's the body running on a cleaner, more stable energy system. While glucose metabolism produces oxidative stress and free radicals, ketone metabolism does the opposite. Ketones are anti-inflammatory signaling molecules that tell your body to repair itself. They enhance mitochondrial function, the energy factories of your cells, and trigger pathways like AMPK and autophagy. AMPK acts as a metabolic switch, signaling the body to increase energy production and fat breakdown, while autophagy works like an internal detox, breaking down old, damaged proteins and cellular debris. It's like clearing out metabolic junk so your system can run efficiently again. The other crucial benefit here is hormonal balance. As insulin drops, growth hormone rises dramatically. Growth hormone is responsible for maintaining lean mass and promoting fat loss. It tells your body to preserve muscle while prioritizing fat as fuel. This is the body's way of protecting survival mechanisms during periods without food. Instead of wasting muscle, it adapts, becoming leaner and more efficient. That's why people who combine fasting with resistance training or high protein refeeding see accelerated results in body composition, less fat, more definition, better performance. The reduction in visceral fat has a direct impact on metabolic health. Less visceral fat means better insulin sensitivity, lower blood pressure, reduced triglycerides, and improved liver function. Remember, visceral fat isn't just sitting there doing nothing. It's constantly releasing inflammatory molecules that drive insulin resistance, fatty liver, and even hormonal imbalance. Fasting shuts that down at the source. Once your body learns to oxidize fat efficiently, it continues doing so even after you resume eating, provided you don't flood it again with carbs and processed junk. That's where the carnivore refeed ties everything together. After 3 days of fasting, when your insulin is low and your fat metabolism is firing, reintroducing nutrient-dense animal protein, and fat keeps you in that fat-burning anti-inflammatory state. It prevents the insulin spike that would normally shut down ketone production. Your metabolism stays flexible. You're still using fat as your primary fuel while rebuilding muscle and replenishing your system with essential amino acids, minerals, and fats. So what starts as a temporary fast becomes a metabolic reset. You've burned through glycogen, tapped into visceral fat, triggered deep ketosis, and activated powerful repair mechanisms. When you pair that with an animal-based diet, you sustain those benefits long after the fast ends. When the fasting window closes, what you eat next determines whether you keep burning fat or instantly shut that process down. Most people make the mistake of breaking their fast with carbs, fruits, smoothies, oats, or so-called healthy plant-based meals. The problem is that those foods immediately spike insulin. Insulin's job is to store energy, not burn it. So as soon as it rises, your body stops burning fat and starts holding on to it. That's why so many people fast for days, then regain the weight within a week. The post-fast meal either amplifies or erases the progress you made. Refeeding with pure animal protein and fat changes everything. When you come off a fast and eat steak, eggs, or fatty fish, you're fueling the body with nutrients that stabilize insulin rather than spiking it. Animal protein triggers a moderate insulin response, just enough to drive amino acids into muscle tissue for repair, while fat keeps that insulin spike low and steady. You stay in a state of metabolic calm. Instead of crashing, you transition smoothly from internal repair mode to growth and recovery mode. The result is continued fat burning, stable energy, and zero rebound hunger. During fasting, your body's metabolism shifts toward fat oxidation. When you reintroduce carbohydrates, you reverse that shift. Insulin surges, glucose rises, and the body reverts to burning sugar as its primary fuel. But when you refeed with animal-based nutrition, that fat oxidation continues uninterrupted. Your mitochondria, which have adapted to running on fat and ketones, stay efficient. You remain metabolically flexible, able to burn fat for energy even after eating. This is why the carnivore refeed is such a powerful extension of fasting. It keeps you in a fat-adapted state while rebuilding strength and resilience. Another key point is muscle preservation. Extended fasting can cause minor protein turnover, but when you refeed with high quality animal protein, you not only recover but actually grow lean tissue. Amino acids from meat, especially leucine, signal muscle protein synthesis, the process that rebuilds and strengthens muscle fibers. Growth hormone and testosterone, both elevated from fasting, amplify this effect. Together, they create an anabolic environment without the fat gain that comes from a high-carb refeed. Your body uses what you eat for repair, not storage. Animal fats play an equally important role. They provide long-lasting energy, support hormone production, and help maintain low insulin levels. Fatty acids like stearic acid and palmitic acid signal the body to keep burning fat by activating mitochondrial biogenesis, basically creating more energy factories inside your cells. Cholesterol and saturated fat, often demonized, are essential for building steroid hormones and stabilizing cell membranes. After fasting, this nourishment helps the body restore balance and resilience without inflammation or water retention. In contrast, refeeding with carbohydrates reverses these benefits almost immediately. Glycogen stores refill, insulin spikes, and water retention increases. Inflammation markers often rise again, and hunger returns within hours. The brain shifts back to glucose dependency, and that clean, steady mental clarity from ketosis fades. Many people mistake this post-carb crash for needing more fuel, but it's actually a symptom of metabolic whiplash, the body being yanked from one energy system to another. The carnivore approach avoids that entirely. You keep insulin stable, ketones elevated, and energy consistent. There's also a powerful hormonal synergy at play. Fasting increases adiponectin, a hormone that enhances fat burning and improves insulin sensitivity. Animal-based refeeding sustains that effect by preventing sharp glucose spikes that would otherwise suppress it. At the same time, leptin, the hormone that signals satiety, becomes more responsive, meaning you feel satisfied with less food. This is why people often find they naturally eat less after a carnivore-style refeed. Their body's hunger cues finally start working again. On the cellular level, the combination of fasting and carnivore nutrition enhances mitochondrial efficiency. Fat and ketones produce more ATP per molecule with less oxidative stress compared to glucose. This means cleaner energy, reduced inflammation, and better recovery. When your cells are running on high quality fuel, everything improves: mental clarity, digestion, endurance, and immune response. It's not just about losing fat. It's about upgrading your entire metabolic system. Another overlooked aspect is nutrient density. After fasting, your body is in a state of heightened absorption. It's ready to take in whatever nutrients you provide. Animal foods deliver those nutrients in their most bioavailable forms: complete proteins, heme iron, B vitamins, zinc, and essential fats. These compounds directly support mitochondrial repair, hormone balance, and tissue regeneration. When you refeed with meat and animal fat, you're giving your body the exact materials it needs to rebuild stronger. No plant source even comes close to matching that efficiency. So instead of undoing the benefits of fasting, a carnivore refeed compounds them. Insulin stays stable, muscle is preserved, fat oxidation continues, and your metabolism stays flexible. You move from cleansing mode into rebuilding mode without ever leaving the fat burning state. This is the difference between a temporary fast and a long-term transformation. It's not just what you stop eating, it's what you reintroduce that defines the outcome. When the body enters a fasted state, it's not just burning fat, it's rebuilding itself from the inside out. One of the most profound processes that happens during fasting is autophagy. Think of it as your body's internal cleanup system. When nutrients are scarce and insulin levels fall, your cells shift from growth to repair mode. They begin identifying old, damaged, or dysfunctional components, misfolded proteins, broken mitochondria, toxic waste, and recycling them for energy or replacement material. It's one of the most efficient biological detox systems we have, and it only kicks in when food intake stops for long enough. During this period, your body becomes incredibly selective about what it keeps. Cells literally start to eat damaged parts of themselves to survive, breaking them down into usable amino acids and fatty acids. Those recycled materials are then used to fuel essential processes and build new cellular structures. This is how fasting promotes longevity, lowers inflammation, and helps prevent metabolic diseases. You're not just cleaning house, you're upgrading the hardware. As fasting progresses, mitochondrial renewal becomes a central focus. Mitochondria, the powerhouses of your cells, take the biggest beating from oxidative stress, poor diet, and chronic inflammation. Over time, these little energy factories lose efficiency, leading to fatigue, insulin resistance, and aging at the cellular level. When autophagy ramps up, the body starts breaking down old or defective mitochondria and replacing them with new, more efficient ones. This process, called mitophagy, restores your cell's ability to produce clean, efficient energy. After about 36 hours of fasting, these effects become significant. ATP production increases, oxidative stress decreases, and cells literally begin to function like younger versions of themselves. What happens next is just as critical: the refeed. Once you break the fast, the body shifts back to an anabolic state. It's ready to rebuild, but what you feed it determines the quality of that rebuilding process. If you flood your system with sugar and processed carbs, you interrupt this renewal cycle. Insulin spikes, inflammation returns, and the cellular environment becomes toxic again. But if you refeed with clean animal-based nutrition, rich in complete proteins, healthy fats, and micronutrients, you give your body the perfect materials to rebuild stronger, more resilient cells. Amino acids from animal protein play a direct role in this recovery process. Leucine, methionine, and lysine activate mTOR, a key growth pathway that signals the body to start synthesizing new proteins. This is where fasting and carnivore nutrition complement each other perfectly. Fasting breaks down and clears damaged structures through autophagy, while refeeding with animal protein triggers controlled rebuilding through mTOR. Rhythmic balance: clean out, rebuild, strengthen. The key is timing and the purity of the fuel. Animal fats are equally important. They provide energy without disrupting insulin sensitivity, allowing your cells to continue operating in a fat-adapted state. Saturated and monounsaturated fats support mitochondrial membranes, giving them the stability and flexibility needed for efficient energy transfer. Cholesterol, often misunderstood, serves as a foundational molecule for hormone production and cell repair. When you finish a fast and reintroduce these nutrients, you're not just feeding your body, you're fine-tuning the machinery that keeps it running. Mitochondrial biogenesis, the creation of new mitochondria, also accelerates post-fast when you refeed correctly. Carnivore nutrition provides the raw materials for this process. Nutrients like carnitine, creatine, CoQ10, and taurine, found abundantly in red meat, directly enhance mitochondrial energy production and protect against oxidative stress. This combination of fasting-induced mitophagy and animal-based refeeding creates a compounding effect. You clear out the old and build new, high-performance mitochondria in their place. That's why many people experience a surge in energy, focus, and endurance after doing a fast followed by a carnivore refeed. This internal reset goes beyond energy production. It affects how your entire body responds to stress, inflammation, and aging. Fasting lowers oxidative damage, while carnivore nutrition reinforces antioxidant defense through nutrients like zinc, selenium, and vitamin A, all of which are crucial for immune function and cellular repair. Together, they create a metabolic environment where inflammation is minimized, hormones are balanced, and tissues regenerate efficiently. Even the gut benefits from this combination. During fasting, the digestive system gets a break from constant work. Gut permeability decreases, the microbiome resets, and inflammation in the intestinal lining begins to subside. When you reintroduce easily digestible animal foods, meat, eggs, broth, you provide nutrients that heal the gut lining and promote better nutrient absorption without triggering immune reactions. There's no fiber fermentation, no bloating, no lectin-induced irritation, just clean fuel your body can use directly. At its core, metabolic switching, moving between fasting and animal-based eating, teaches the body how to adapt. It's the ultimate expression of metabolic flexibility. You move from breakdown to rebuild, from cleansing to strengthening, in a rhythm that mirrors what our ancestors experienced through cycles of feast and scarcity. This is what keeps the system young, efficient, and resistant to modern metabolic diseases. So when fasting activates autophagy and mitochondrial renewal, carnivore nutrition completes the cycle by rebuilding those cells with superior materials. You're not just resetting metabolism, you're upgrading it. Each cycle of fasting and refeeding makes your body more efficient, more resilient, and more capable of burning fat while maintaining peak performance. Visceral fat is the silent killer most people don't see until it's already caused damage. It's not the soft, pinchable fat under your skin. It's the dense, active fat packed around your liver, pancreas, and intestines. This kind of fat is hormonally and metabolically active, releasing inflammatory cytokines, disrupting insulin signaling, and driving chronic disease from the inside out. The reason so many people struggle with stubborn belly fat and inflammation, even when they lose weight elsewhere, is because they never truly address visceral fat metabolism. That's where fasting combined with the carnivore diet becomes a powerful intervention. When you start a fast, insulin levels drop dramatically. That's the first signal your body needs to unlock stored fat. Without insulin constantly elevated, lipolysis, the breakdown of fat, accelerates. Visceral fat, being the most metabolically active, is the first to respond. The body begins mobilizing triglycerides stored deep in the abdominal cavity and converting them into free fatty acids and ketones for energy. Unlike subcutaneous fat, visceral fat doesn't require long caloric restriction to move. It's directly tied to your hormonal environment. When insulin drops and growth hormone rises during fasting, the fat around your organs becomes fuel. As those stores are used, something even more important happens. Inflammation markers begin to decline. Visceral fat releases interleukin-6, IL-6, tumor necrosis factor alpha TNF5, and C-reactive protein CRP, all of which contribute to insulin resistance, joint pain, and systemic inflammation. During fasting, those pro-inflammatory signals are suppressed. Ketone bodies like beta-hydroxybutyrate have strong anti-inflammatory properties, directly inhibiting the pathways that drive chronic inflammation. Within just a few days, people often report reduced stiffness, better mobility, and clearer mental focus. That's not placebo. It's cellular inflammation coming down. The refeeding phase with carnivore nutrition keeps that healing process going instead of reversing it. When you reintroduce animal protein and fat, you avoid the glucose and fructose spikes that would otherwise reignite inflammation. Carbohydrates, especially refined ones, feed the inflammatory cycle through constant insulin stimulation and glycation, a process where sugar molecules damage proteins and tissues. By staying in a low insulin, high fat state, the body continues using fat as its primary fuel source while inflammation markers stay low. It's a clean burn, steady energy, no reactive crashes. The nutrient density of animal foods plays a major role here as well. Red meat, eggs, and organ meats are packed with compounds that actively reduce inflammation and repair tissues. Zinc and selenium modulate immune response and reduce oxidative stress. Omega-3 fats from grass-fed beef and fish counterbalance omega-6 driven inflammation common in processed diets. Collagen and glycine from animal connective tissue support joint health and repair damaged cartilage. Every bite reinforces recovery rather than feeding the inflammatory fire. As inflammation decreases, insulin sensitivity improves. This is one of the most measurable changes people experience after combining fasting with carnivore nutrition. Insulin sensitivity determines how well your cells respond to the hormone that regulates blood sugar. Chronic inflammation blunts that response, forcing your body to produce more insulin to get the same effect, a cycle that leads to fat gain, energy crashes, and metabolic syndrome. When you lower inflammation, your cells become more responsive again. Glucose is cleared efficiently, insulin levels stabilize, and the fat burning state becomes easier to maintain long term. This shift has visible effects beyond fat loss. People notice reduced bloating, clearer skin, and sharper cognition because systemic inflammation affects every organ system from the brain to the gut. Even joint pain and autoimmune symptoms often improve because many of those issues are driven by inflammatory mediators circulating in the blood. Fasting calms the immune system by lowering those mediators, and the carnivore refeed eliminates dietary triggers like lectins, oxalates, and seed oils that would otherwise keep inflammation alive. You're not just reducing pain, you're addressing its metabolic root cause. Liver health is another area that benefits dramatically. Visceral fat accumulation around the liver, known as fatty liver, is one of the earliest signs of metabolic dysfunction. During fasting, the liver begins exporting fat rather than storing it, and as insulin sensitivity returns, fat infiltration decreases. When you follow that with an animal-based refeed rich in choline and carnitine, the liver continues to process fat efficiently. Over time, this combination reverses fatty liver markers, lowers triglycerides, and normalizes liver enzyme levels. It's a direct restoration of metabolic function. What makes this approach so powerful is that it doesn't just rely on calorie restriction, it changes the body's internal signaling. You're teaching your system to access and burn visceral fat first, to regulate insulin naturally, and to calm inflammation at its source. Most traditional diets don't reach this level of metabolic correction because they keep insulin elevated through constant feeding and carbohydrate intake. Fasting shuts that off, and carnivore nutrition keeps it off. The measurable outcomes speak for themselves. People who use this protocol consistently see significant drops in waist circumference, CRP, fasting insulin, and triglycerides. Blood pressure improves, energy stabilizes, and chronic pain often subsides within weeks. What you're seeing is the reversal of metabolic inflammation, the real root of obesity, fatigue, and disease. Visceral fat melts away because the hormonal and inflammatory conditions that created it are gone. So the combination of fasting and carnivore eating doesn't just make you leaner, it makes you metabolically younger. It restores the body's natural rhythm of burning, healing, and rebuilding. Deep abdominal fat disappears, inflammation cools down, and your system runs smoother, stronger, and cleaner than it has in years. When you combine fasting with a carnivore diet, one of the most powerful shifts happens in the gut. The digestive system, which is constantly burdened by fiber, plant toxins, and processed foods, finally gets a chance to rest. Most people underestimate how much energy digestion requires. Breaking down complex plant fibers, lectins, and oxalates taxes the intestinal lining and inflames the gut barrier over time. When you remove those irritants and stop constant feeding through fasting, the gut has room to repair itself. It's like giving your digestive system a reset button. During fasting, digestive activity slows dramatically. The body diverts energy away from breaking down food and toward repair and maintenance. The gut lining, which renews itself every few days, finally has a chance to heal microtears caused by years of inflammation and poor food choices. The immune cells that line the intestines calm down, gut permeability decreases, and inflammation in the intestinal wall begins to subside. This process is accelerated by the absence of plant compounds that constantly irritate the gut. Things like lectins from grains and legumes, oxalates from leafy greens, and insoluble fibers that can scrape or ferment in the intestines. When you transition from fasting to eating, carnivore nutrition keeps the healing process going instead of reversing it. Animal foods are inherently gut-friendly. They're fully digestible, free from fiber, and rich in amino acids that support tissue repair. Glycine and proline from collagen help rebuild the gut lining, while glutamine from red meat nourishes the intestinal cells directly. There's no residue, no bloating, no fermentation, just clean, easily absorbed fuel. People who struggle with IBS, bloating, or reflux often find that this combination of fasting and carnivore eating completely eliminates their symptoms because it removes both the irritants and the inflammatory response. As the gut heals, hormonal balance begins to normalize as well. The gut and hormones are tightly linked. What happens in one directly affects the other. Chronic gut inflammation raises cortisol levels, disrupts thyroid function, and impairs sex hormone production. When inflammation goes down, the adrenal glands finally get a break. Cortisol, the stress hormone, begins to stabilize. This alone improves energy levels, sleep quality, and mood regulation. The body moves from a constant fight or flight mode to a state of recovery and balance. Fasting also enhances this hormonal reset by improving insulin sensitivity and boosting growth hormone secretion. Insulin drops sharply during fasting, and that triggers a cascade of benefits. Fat oxidation increases, hunger hormones like ghrelin normalize, and leptin sensitivity improves. Leptin, your body's satiety signal, starts working again, meaning you actually feel full when you should. After the fast, When you reintroduce animal protein and fat, that hormonal equilibrium deepens. There are no sugar spikes, no roller coaster crashes, just steady energy and appetite control driven by stable blood sugar and low inflammation. The balance of protein and fat in the carnivore diet supports this recovery perfectly. Protein provides the raw materials for rebuilding tissues, producing hormones, and maintaining lean mass. Fat supplies sustained energy and supports the production of steroid hormones, testosterone, estrogen, and cortisol, all derived from cholesterol. In fact, without adequate fat intake, the body struggles to produce these hormones efficiently. That's one reason why low-fat diets often lead to fatigue, mood swings, and hormonal imbalances. When you refeed with nutrient-dense animal fat, you're literally giving your endocrine system what it needs to recover. After a fast, the adrenal glands and thyroid are especially sensitive to nutrient availability. They rely on minerals like sodium, potassium, and zinc, all abundant in red meat and bone broth. These nutrients restore electrolyte balance, reduce stress on the adrenals, and enhance thyroid conversion of T4 to the active T3 hormone. Many people who've battled sluggish metabolism or fatigue notice their body temperature and energy levels improve as soon as they stabilize with carnivore refeeding. The reason is simple. You've eliminated the inflammatory blockers and given your endocrine system the nourishment it needs to function properly. This hormonal rebalance also extends to sex hormones. Testosterone, for instance, thrives in a low insulin, high fat environment. When insulin is low and dietary cholesterol is available, the body efficiently converts precursors into testosterone. That's why men who fast and eat carnivore style often see improved libido, energy, and muscle retention. For women, balanced fat intake supports progesterone and estrogen production while reducing cortisol-driven dominance. The outcome is steadier mood, better cycle regulation, and fewer energy crashes. The gut hormone axis is essentially the communication line between digestion, metabolism, and overall health. Fasting clears the interference. Carnivore nutrition strengthens the signal. The absence of sugar and fiber minimizes gut fermentation, reducing endotoxins that leak into the bloodstream and trigger systemic inflammation. Once that gut barrier is sealed and hormone levels stabilize, your body becomes far more efficient at absorbing nutrients, regulating metabolism, and maintaining steady energy. You no longer need constant snacks or caffeine to get through the day. Your body is finally back in sync. Over time, this combination produces a profound reset. The gut becomes calm and resilient, digestion becomes effortless, and hormonal systems start working with precision again. You're not just losing fat or healing the gut lining, you're restoring the body's communication network. The carnivore fast teaches your system how to run smoothly without the constant stress of blood sugar swings, food sensitivities, or inflammation. What follows is better digestion, deeper sleep, enhanced mood, and a renewed sense of balance that feels effortless because it's how your body is designed to function. When it comes to doing a 3-day carnivore fast, the goal isn't to push your body to extremes. It's to guide it through a controlled, intelligent metabolic reset. This is not about starvation or deprivation, it's about precision. You're training your body to become efficient at burning fat while supporting it with the right hydration, minerals, and refeeding strategy. The first rule is simple: preparation matters. Going straight from a high-carb diet into a fast can cause unnecessary discomfort, fatigue, dizziness, or electrolyte imbalances. It's better to spend a few days easing into lower carbs and higher fat intake before starting the fast. This way, your body is already adapted to using fat as fuel when the fasting window begins. During the fast itself, hydration becomes the cornerstone of success. Water intake should increase, not decrease. When insulin drops, the body excretes more sodium and water through the kidneys, a process known as natriuresis. Without replacing those electrolytes, you can experience headaches, muscle cramps, and weakness. A good guideline is to add electrolytes directly into your water. Sodium, potassium, and magnesium are the big three. A pinch of quality salt in every glass, along with magnesium supplementation or a pinch of potassium chloride, helps maintain fluid balance and nerve function. These minerals not only prevent fatigue, but also support your heart and muscle performance throughout the fast. Coffee and tea are optional, but keep them minimal and unsweetened to avoid stimulating insulin or cortisol unnecessarily. Most people find that black coffee in moderation can enhance focus and energy by increasing ketone utilization. However, hydration should always come first. Water and electrolytes are non-negotiable. Sleep and recovery also play a major role. When fasting, your body is in repair mode, and good sleep helps amplify autophagy and growth hormone release. Fasting without rest turns into stress, so it's better to keep training light or focus on walking, stretching, and gentle movement rather than high-intensity exercise during these 3 days. By day 2, most people begin to feel the metabolic shift. Hunger decreases, mental clarity increases, and fat oxidation ramps up. The body is now using stored energy, especially visceral fat, as its primary fuel source. Around this time, ketone production peaks and inflammation starts to subside noticeably. Some report reduced joint pain, clearer skin, and improved digestion even before refeeding. This is your system rebooting. Cells are cleaning themselves, mitochondria are being renewed, and your body is relearning how to operate without constant glucose. Breaking the fast correctly is just as critical as the fast itself. This is where many people go wrong. After 72 hours, your digestive system is in a sensitive reset state. Flooding it with carbs or large meals can cause insulin spikes, digestive distress, and fatigue. The refeed should be gradual and clean. Start with easily digestible animal foods like bone broth eggs or soft meats. Bone broth is ideal for the first meal. It provides collagen, electrolytes, and amino acids without overwhelming the gut. After that, move into fatty meats like ribeye or ground beef. Keep the portions moderate at first. Let your body reawaken digestion naturally. Within 12 to 24 hours, you can return to full carnivore meals, maintaining that fat to protein balance that keeps insulin low and energy stable. What's remarkable is how consistently this protocol delivers results. People who combine fasting with carnivore nutrition often see dramatic changes in just a few days, not just on the scale, but in how they feel. Inflammation drops, joint stiffness fades, and mental sharpness returns. The reduction in visceral fat can be measured in inches lost around the waist, and improved blood markers like fasting insulin, triglycerides, and C-reactive protein. For many, these short fasts serve as a reset that breaks weight loss plateaus or restarts stalled progress from other diets. Real-world transformations tell the story better than numbers ever could. Individuals who struggled for years with stubborn belly fat, chronic fatigue, or autoimmune symptoms often find this combination life-changing. In 3 days, they experience more clarity and energy than they've felt in years. Inflammation-driven pain in joints and muscles subsides, sleep improves, and cravings disappear. The reason isn't magic, it's metabolic alignment. You've allowed the body to operate the way it was designed, alternating between fasting repair and nutrient-dense rebuilding. Over time, many people make this a recurring tool, doing a 3-day carnivore fast every few months to reset metabolism, reduce inflammation, and maintain insulin sensitivity. It's sustainable because it's simple: eat clean, fast intelligently, and refeed with purpose. No counting calories, no complicated macros, no supplements beyond electrolytes and salt. Just water, rest, and whole animal nutrition. The beauty of this method lies in its simplicity and biological precision. You're not tricking your body, you're working with its natural design. When done correctly, a 3-day carnivore fast doesn't deplete you, it restores you. It teaches your body how to burn fat efficiently, balance hormones naturally, and heal at the cellular level. Outcome isn't just fat loss, it's metabolic freedom, the ability to run on your own fuel supply without constant hunger or inflammation. Once you experience that clarity, it's hard to go back to the old way of eating.